Welcome to TeddiTalks, the podcast where we have open, revealing conversations about being female, being healthy, wealthy, and wise throughout generations. I'm your host, Teddi-Jann Covell.
And I'm your co-host, Nicky LaRochelle.
In each episode, you will get to hear real stories that shaped us. We will be vulnerable and honest. It's girl talk, talking about things that few women talk about but want to know. You will learn, laugh, cry, and maybe even get angry. But Nicky and I have your back. We support you.
Yes, we do.
This is a place for support and enlightenment, and our mission is that you will find your own positive voice throughout our stories. Sit back, relax, join us on this incredible journey of growth, resilience, and empowerment. Welcome, beautiful gems.
Hello, gems.
Teddi-Jann Covell.
And I'm Nicky Lynn.
We're here with Danielle ABBOTT.
Hello. The ABBOTT Advantage.
And we are in talking about leadership and motivating other people.
Yes. And Danielle, give us a quick recap. We had you on last week, but give us a quick recap about what the ABBOTT Advantage does.
Yeah, so the ABBOTT Advantage works with organizations to help support their leadership team, and our goal is really to create cultures that people thrive in. So we work with people who may have toxic work cultures, have struggle with communication, resolving conflict, those types of things, to really create a place that people want to work.
Nice. So I want to dive into the Let Them theory, which is Mel Robbins' book.
Hold it up. Let Them theory. We've been using this as the framework for our
all of our talks recently.
Yes, for the past episode, season 2.
Season 2. Season 2.
Excuse me.
Episode all of them. So we talked a little bit about leadership before. We talked about where you're the firstborn, we're the middle children, and then talked about how a lot of companies just kind of promote you without leadership. And let's dive deeper now, and let's talk about motivating people to change, whether that's in leadership, and I know that that's your business, so we're going to focus on that, or if it's in your personal life, motivating people to change and how you influence people with your own behaviors.
Oh, that's so good.
That's two questions.
That
is
two
the motivation.
I got all weird.
Excited. So I'm going to answer the first, motivating people to change first. As leaders, we are involved in shifting behavior, changing behavior in order to obviously make it something that works for the organization and help people succeed. When I work with leaders, often they want to change somebody's personality. We can't do that. We're never going to change somebody's personality, but we can shift behaviors and help people do that. But people aren't going to do that until they know what's in it for them. We are all a little bit selfish at heart, and there is nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to change, what's in it for me? So being able to talk about that, I have a coaching framework that I use with my leaders in order for them to coach their staff on shifting and changing behavior. But that's the first thing, is really identifying what's in it for that person, what's going to make them want to change. And then I go all the way back, and this helps, I think, with your personal life, is what are your values? And I don't mean these surface level things like, oh, we all value friends, family, and money. Like if I said, hey, Nicky, what's your values? Like one of those is going to come up.
Money first.
But on a deeper level, right? Money's always number one. On a deeper level, like what do you value? Do you value authority? Do you value connection? What is that deeper thing? And when we can identify our really deep core values, we can shift behavior to align with those.
Okay.
And that works really well.
I have to jump what Mel has said about motivation is adults. No one wants to feel pressured to change. Mm-mm. And people, that was a big thing with the government. People hate change. People hate change. And she has done...
I think that's the problem anywhere. People hate change.
Right. Oh, anyone.
Let's talk the nursing. Right. I've been a nurse for 15 years. I've been in multiple places. when the manager leaves, you will find a lot of nursing and a lot of staff leave too.
Yeah.
Because people don't like change.
Can I drop a resource name?
I want to drop it.
Okay, so there's
Yeah.
a YouTube video, Jason Clarke, Clarke, and it's called, I believe it's called like Resisting Change, but he talks about this whole, like, who's our change resistors. And there's a line in there, and it always sticks in my head when somebody says, oh, people don't like change. He says that's a lie. People don't mind change. What they don't like is false change. Okay. And we are promised so many changes over and
Does
over,
that sound
especially in the
familiar?
corporate world. And so, yeah, people aren't buying it anymore. And
Right.
when you leave or you implement a new software, and we're always saying, oh, it's better, it's better,
Right,
it's
right.
better. But it's never better. And
Yes.
so
Okay.
people want real change.
I see that.
Change that's going to make an impact.
Because when you do bring a computer system in and they're like, oh, well, we've got, it's like a salesperson. I can see through that salesperson. And I did have at my new marketing firm, they had been trying to sell me. Mm-hmm. And I was and I got really frustrated because so many people tried to sell me. And I said to this marketing team, I said, listen, I'm burnt out. Everyone is calling me. They want my money. And nobody, and even the people that I have hired, is not producing what they promised me they're going to produce. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you 3 months. And I started to get because the first marketing...
That's your boundary.
Yeah. But the first marketing, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Here, have money and just do what you think is best. And, and here's what I want to... And it didn't come through. But this marketing team, I felt more in charge of my own destiny. And I said, I'm going to give you 3 months. This is what I need. This is what you promised me. And if you don't fulfill that, we're done.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great.
Well, I was just going to kind of bring it back to Mel a little bit in her part about people don't want to change, or you can't make somebody change. No. They have to want to themselves. Like you said, got to be inner. And one of the methods that is now taught, I've been told, in business schools is the Sakichi Toyoda 5 Whys method. He is the founder of Toyota.
I didn't mean to laugh,
That's
Teddy,
okay.
but you're like, sucky. And I was like, yeah, things do get sucky.
I am not a fluent in Japanese. I apologize.
I think you did great.
I think it's perfect.
It's taught in business schools. It's you ask. First of all, you got to listen to this other person, and you ask 5 whys.
Okay.
And it's kind of like open-ended questions about don't, insert yourself, but just, for example, like you might really want your husband to get to the gym. He's sitting on the couch watching too much whatever sports. And
again, we've changed names and situations.
Relationships.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, this
examples.
was an example Mel
It
used.
was. And about how, like, when you go to the gym and you want your husband or your friend or
you just want him to get off the couch and stop eating chips.
Yeah. Or if you want someone to lose weight. Like, I mean,
Right.
she was talking about that too. And I can
Correct.
tell you that there have been people in my life, and I won't name them because I don't think they mean to do things in a harmful way, but would send things like, oh, here, you should do this. Oh, you should do this. Or did you get a membership to the gym? Or are we really going to eat that? And like these little judgmental tones are all saying, and I've recognized this. So up until recently, it was, to me, I took it, stuffed it down and thought, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not, I can't make everyone happy. Which, again, you can't be a really good leader if those are kind of the things that are really driving your inner core. Because why would you speak up? Why would you take that risk to say, well, I'm sorry, that's my boundary. You're not going to. You're going to be like, okay, do whatever you need to because So what I found, though, was in reading Mel's book and before, that person might think they have good intentions and they want you to change because they want what's better for you. But by being that pressure, they're actually making you resent them.
Correct. And
They're causing you to resist. And especially like me, if you tell me to do something, I ain't doing it.
I mean, oh yeah?
That sounds like my
Let
sister.
me show you.
Let
You don't
me.
want me to eat this burger? I'm going to drive back
I'm gonna eat 3 of them.
and I'm going to get another one.
That sounds like my sister, the middle child, because
There's a middle child.
my dad told me, and I was just coming in to then it was, junior high, and he goes, "You want to be the best you can be? Then don't smoke, don't do drugs, And I didn't. I'm the little obedient one, but my
You're
sister
the oldest.
did not. I mean, she might have wanted to be good, but she didn't follow.
Yeah, we already had.
like
I think
training rules.
season 1, we already learned about your sister.
Yeah,
that
don't
was put in
please.
the closet.
I love you. Yeah, see.
Yes, go back to our season 1, subscribe, like our channel, share with a friend, and find out how Teddy's sister got into the closet.
Oh, kill me.
So we know why that people are pushing and you get resentful.
But that's why she said, ask that person. This is more geared to somebody who you care about, who you love.
Yeah.
Family member, friend. Ask them open-ended questions and you listen. And then, if they're like, how do you feel? How do you physically feel?
Right.
For example. And
I'm the healthiest fat person on the planet. Like,
oh,
I feel
well,
great.
why do you feel that way? And you ask
Yeah.
them why 5 times.
Yeah.
And we use the same in leadership and when you're working with leaders and their staff, because so many times we don't like in other people what we don't like in ourselves.
Oh, sure.
And so that often bubbles up even in leadership. So not even in your personal life. So by asking if I have this one employee and they always do this and I hate it. And then we start asking why, and come to find out they're just not doing it your way. It's getting done. Mm-hmm. It's meeting the timeline. Nobody's getting hurt. It's not breaking any rules. So why are you wasting so much energy on this thing? And it's a control thing, I think.
It is a control.
And control comes from anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Because
I know. It's so exciting.
I love this topic. Because this is what partly Mel brings it up, but because that person who is pushing, if it's your spouse, because when you and you're listening to what they say, you really find out, oh my God, I'm the one that I'm embarrassed to go in public with a fat husband.
You deep dive and you're like, I'm the one
That
that's
is
bothered
what
by this.
It's all
my
internal.
issue.
It's so internal.
But if you back off the freaking pedal and model, influence,
Yes.
go to the gym yourself, go for that walk at noontime,
Yes.
have
I'll go
that
for a walk.
apple,
Do you want to go with me?
or don't even ask them, just go yourself. And
Yeah.
they're seeing you go, and pretty soon they'll, hey, maybe I should go for a walk.
Or they
maybe-
won't. And that's
Or they
okay
w-
too.
And that's okay
Yeah.
too.
Like that's the thing.
Exactly.
People are like, I can influence all I want, but the other person needs to be the one to take the action. And if they
Yeah.
don't, that's them, not you.
Yes.
And that would be into the next part of if you can handle someone, for example, who's an alcoholic, and you've tried to model and ask the questions, not just ask them why they feel that way, then you might have to be the one to say like, hey, I can't live this way.
that would be the let me.
That's
That's
right.
the let me in this
Right.
book.
And
So,
creating your
So
own
you let them do what
boundaries.
their thing, and then you have to take it back. So like, I can't.
So, and I can say for myself, the more that somebody pushes you to change or shames you into trying to change,
Can't.
the more my self-esteem lowers. And the lower your self-esteem is, the less motivation you have. So it really is, Teddy, like you said, you really have to say, hey, like, I'm going to the gym. Do you want to go to the gym? No, I don't want to. Oh, why don't you want, what is it that you don't like about the gym? Well, now,
Or how do you feel about the gym?
what is it you don't like, or what is it that, why, what is it? I try not to use why, because those are kind of judgy questions, but what is it you don't like? And I find, I've just had this conversation with someone else, I'm intimidated. I don't know what to do when I get there, and everybody seems like they know everything to do. And so, once you break that down, and now you say, okay, well, I'll go with you if you want to do you want to just go on the treadmill? Yeah. Now we have an influence and unlocking the power of influence.
Because you're coming from a place of love and compassion.
And understanding.
Right.
So how do you use, don't give too much away, because I want you to be successful in your business, and I don't want you to give all this free advice. So
yes, this is free advice. That's
go
why
to
you
ABBOTT
need
Advantage
to look.
and get Danielle to talk to your leaders. But how would you? We've talked about you can't tell someone that they have to change. You can't push them and make. So how do you influence them, or how would you encourage leaders to influence change?
Number one, relationships drive everything we do. And so we have to start by building relationships with people. I know somebody who was in their career working at a place for, 23 years, did not lead people, left to a different organization, and all of a sudden found them leading people. And they came to me for advice, and I said, your first 6 months is building relationships. Don't fix a thing.
That's what they said.
Don't change a policy.
6 months.
Don't do anything. Like, your first 6 months is truly getting to know your team. What are their goals? What are their aspirations? Where do they want to go? How do they see their leader fitting into their new world? Mm-hmm. Build relationships with people. Once you build relationships, anything happens. Sales comes from building relationships. I'm not going to buy from somebody who's a sleazy salesman. Mm-hmm. I'm going to buy who's somebody I know, like, and trust. Sales is building relationships. Leadership is building relationships. Everything is building relationships.
Mm-hmm. Teaching is, I have to say to my husband, who just retired as teacher, I said, you're a salesman. You have to sell that book, that whatever it is you're teaching to those kids.
Yeah.
You have to do it, especially and on the athletic field during practice. Yeah. You've got to sell it.
And we all are sales. Like, we all are.
It's
You're selling
involved
yourself.
in everything.
Yeah.
Right.
You're selling yourself. Like, this podcast, we want people to subscribe.
Right.
We want people to listen. Like, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
So that people want to do that and they want to hear more.
And we're the reason that we have the podcast that we do, we're raw, real, and rough, is because what you were saying is we're not cookie cuttering.
Well, it's fine.
We need a Nicky dictionary.
We do need a Nicky dictionary. I went to the doctor just to make sure I didn't have it. I was like,
silly.
my brain doesn't do
No,
things.
I love it.
And anyway, he said I was fine. So it's not cookie cutter. It's, it's personal. It's like, we're going to, I want to reach you where we have issues. And so that is why, and my marketing person, he sold me because he said, what is it that, he got personal. And I said, my previous, they're not telling my story. Mm. My story is very important to me. And what I heard before was like, oh, yeah. Sell. And when I realized that expectation didn't match what they promised me, so the next person, it's even harder for me to trust. Yeah. So that was a lot of words.
I get that because, smooth talking, that's, smooth operator. You can, when you're not really sure of something, you can be swayed by fancy language and whether
I always tell people, it comes to you've been in interviews before. So the first organization I worked for, not only did they support my leadership growth, they also taught me how to interview really well. I could probably interview to build a building, and I don't have those skills, but I probably would get the job. So people are taught those sales and how to say the
there are scripts, but if you're smart, you can, this is a canned thing.
And that's why at the R9 Wellness Lounge, we don't do that. We don't push the script of this is what you have to do, and this is what's going to build the business, and this is what's going to make money, and this is what's going to make us successful. We don't push that. We say, who are you?
Yeah.
We've been there. We can see you. what can we do to help you?
And that's building relationships.
And that's building relationships.
And your definition of a good leader is what, Danielle?
Oh, that's a great question. I probably have many, but I would say it's somebody who can connect with a lot of people, can build connections and help foster connections among each other. It's not all what's in it for them. Who can make the tough decisions, who can lead people through things like change, and are willing to reflect and look at their own mistakes and errors and continue to grow themselves and not get in that mindset like, oh, I've been a leader for 20 years, I'm awesome, but always want to kind of learn and grow. I think
So this is the way I've always done it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like everyone loves it this way. Maybe I could check to see, maybe I learned it. Maybe I thought it was working because nobody stood up. So let me check myself and see if I can learn something
And I
new.
think good leaders not only welcome feedback, but they ask for feedback. So being able to go to people and say, hey, I have an example with a client I'm working with, and I'm like, go to this meeting you've had for 2 years and like start asking some questions because they're concerned. They're like, oh, people aren't engaged. I don't know. I said, have we asked them? What do they want out of the meeting? So being able to ask for feedback, I think, is really important.
Well, I think not only asking, but, and that's the first step, but actually using that information to form your decision.
Yeah.
Because so many things are top down. It's like, we will do this, we will do that. And I guess that's why I got involved with the Air Traffic Control Association as the union, because we are in the trenches as air traffic controllers. You need to have this information in Washington, D.C., because we went to Colin's office and Olympia Snows and John Baldacci and people like that, to tell them, this is what's happening here at Bangor. This is what the controllers are experiencing. Please, can you provide legislation to help that? And so many places do not, including today.
My brain went somewhere else.
Well, what I
I think that we do. I think we're kind of like winding down again on this this episode, but I want to give us enough time to talk about influence in energy.
Right. And I want to just say this one thing, because I wrote it down, that I did go to a stress management class when I was a controller. And
Oh, interesting.
yes. And they came to Bangor. I sold my manager that I should go, right? And
But what was it in for you and for them? See, there was a
right.
You sold it to your manager, but there was something in for him.
And one thing that I can remember 1,000 years ago was this point: don't waste your time, energy on trying to change or to enlighten the unconscious.
Yes.
That, and I just
for me
like
so many times. That is such a powerful thing, Teddy.
Powerful.
You've used that. I never heard it until you told me, and it's usually when I'm heightened, and I'm like, well, blah blah blah, and I tried and I told them, and and they're not listening, and she's like, you cannot
enlighten the unconscious.
enlighten the unconscious.
All you
love
can
that.
do is just be you.
Keep being you.
So good.
Yeah, I mean,
So good.
I'll have to look it up.
Listen, if you start using it in your business, she just wants
totally gonna tag
royalties.
Royalties. See what I
Yeah,
can.
no.
We'll work out a contract after
Yeah,
this.
hey, I think everybody should take leadership training, because if you have your own business, if you are on a sports team, if you are, no, it's me, and or if you're thinking about if you're just in your own family,
Raw, rough, and real.
that's
We're all
all
leaders.
these
We're all
things. We're all leaders.
So we're going to touch on real quick here, the energy, the influence and energy. So Danielle, you always have this energy, and people are energy, right? We have atoms, and we have nucleus, and we have the positives and negatives, so we won't get into science today. But, like, this is energy. So when you're trying to influence somebody, I don't think that it's so much always about acting, which I think is super huge. You have to act. You have to do what you say you're going to do. But there's an energy. So when you're teaching people to be leaders, if they don't believe that they're a leader in themselves and they don't believe that they can be respected or powerful, what kind of energy does that throw out to their team?
Yeah, I think people can read it from a mile away. So I'm a big energy, so I'm also certified in energy work stuff too.
I didn't know that. I knew
Little
that there's a
tidbit.
universe thing happening there.
So
I didn't know
I'm a
you
Reiki
could be.
practitioner,
That's
and I
cool.
do breath work and all of those things too. So I'm a big believer in energy and how you show up. And I think that's sometimes why I get so drained.
Yeah.
Because many people think I'm an extrovert, and I'm so not an extrovert. Like after this, it will be nap time. And it's really, how do we put that energy out there in a positive way? And I think we have to reflect back what we're given to an extent, because if I walk into a room filled with people who are super quiet and I'm this loud, like, that's going to turn them off too. So you kind of have to meet people where they're at the beginning, and then growing those relationships. But if you aren't confident in your abilities, if you're not giving yourself some low-hanging fruit to see some success, then your energy will definitely show through, and people aren't going to follow people who don't show up authentically and confidently.
Credibility is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And that's, when you're young, you don't really have much credibility, obviously, because you don't have a lot of experience. But
When they say fake it till you make it, that's actually legit.
that
So
and
when you-
faith it is what I've heard.
So when you smile and you're not happy, there's an actual chemical reaction that
Right.
sends your muscle is smiling, and it's sending neurons to your brain that says this is a happy face, and it will eventually change your mood.
And that, I use that in a lot of things. So I'm actually doing a time management workshop, and part of it, focus, right? People are, I can't focus. Well, of course we can't focus. We're connected to everything at any
Right.
given moment. But part of it is shifting your environment and shifting your energy. So, okay, you can't focus here. Like, go out and get a walk, move your body, dance, sing, do something stupid, shift your energy, and then come back to what you're doing, and you will be refocused
Yeah,
so much.
they say that
easier.
every 90 minutes at the minimum.
Yeah.
Go do something else.
do
Take a
something.
break, walk. I don't know.
Well, in 90
So-
minutes, I think that's where we're at right now.
We're at it.
So-
and again, we are not we have certain licenses, but we're not therapists. We're not doctors. We have we cannot treat or diagnose any kind of medical condition or disease. So these are our opinions, and we thank you all.
And our experts.
Our experts.
Thank you for having me. This was so
Danielle.
fun.
Abbott,
Thank you.
the
So
Abbott
great.
Advantage. So
Thank you so much.
Lead us out with just the most inspiring thing that you would tell your leaders, or tell somebody who wants to make a difference in their life.
Yeah, so I think they need to take on some of my toxic trait, that I truly believe I can do anything. And you
Yay.
can truly do anything. Surround yourself with the right people, find the right mentors, and you can make anything happen for yourself.
Yes, I
Right.
love that.
If
All
you
right.
believe you can change, you will.
you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Selfie
Subscribe.
Space. Subscribe to TeddiTalks 9 on
subscribed.
YouTube.
Yay.
Do I get bonus points?
Thank you.
You get bonus points. We are giving away a book for all of our subscribers.
Ooh,
the
fun.
Let Them Theory book. I
Thank
think
you.
we're almost done with
We're
it.
almost. Thank you
So-
very much, Mel Robbins, for writing the Let Them Theory. Deeply appreciate you.
Yes.
Please follow us on YouTube, TeddiTalks.
Don't forget to subscribe. You can also find Teddi-Jann at msha.ke/Teddi.Jann. Those are two N's, Jann. And if you want to follow my journey with the Wellness Lounge, you can do so at rnwellnesslounge.com, and of course all of our social media channels. So as a disclaimer, as always, we want you to know that all episodes and personal stories are our beliefs, our opinions, and they're not to be substituted for advice from a professional provider. Stories and names sometimes might be changed to protect the other side. And remember, it's okay to take care of yourself and celebrate you no matter what age.
This is true, and we are very grateful and appreciative of Selfie Space located in Brewer, Maine.
Check them out.